Welcome to your favorite Monday morning. It's 9:30 a.m. Where am I at? I am in Paoli, Pennsylvania, and it's already been a long morning. As you can see, I'm wearing a suit instead of wearing my pajamas. Steve, what are you doing today? Looks like you're wearing your pajamas.
Yeah, kind of. I'm kind of wearing pajamas. Yeah, this is the type of stuff
What's
I
your
wear.
pajama tie?
It's pajama tie. Yeah, actually, no, this is Baby Valor's tie. Baby Valor's tie. Anyway, I'm actually out in the middle of the Pine Barrens somewhere on my way to Western New Jersey. So, because there's no such thing as a Central New Jersey, but there is a Western New Jersey and an Eastern New Jersey. So, in any event, yeah, we're out here. We're out here working.
So, who's our guest today?
All right. So, yeah, it's Monday. It's time for a little bit of car chat. And so, actually, I believe we're waking somebody up a little too early this morning. And our guest today is Mr. Rob Buffington. And he's the founder of Gordian Staffing. Thanks for being with us, Rob.
My pleasure. Thanks
Welcome
for having
to
me.
the show.
All right. Why don't you tell us, our viewers, a little bit about what is Gordian Staffing? What do you guys do?
Gordian Staffing is a remote staffing firm. The short version is that we find great team members to join your organization that are based out of Mexico, and we specialize, of course, in the HOA industry.
Oh, wow.
So what functions do remote staffer do for the HOA condo association industry?
You would be amazed. We call our people RTMs, or remote team members, because a lot of people think of call centers when they hear the term VA or virtual assistant, and that's absolutely not what we do. But people use our employees for anything from customer service reps, just somebody to answer the phone and answer the 10 most common questions. Accounting is very popular, but we also see people using them for higher functions like staff accountants, maintenance coordinators, assistant cams, anything that doesn't require a site visit, which thanks to COVID is pretty much everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. So are all the remote team members, are they in like a central location, or are they spread out to where? Are they working from home? Like, where are they?
They're working from home because that's as big of a perk in Mexico as it is here in the States. However, everybody is centralized near our two offices in Guadalajara and Mexico City. So in the event of any issues, they can come in and they work on company equipment. So we have IT departments. So they have that support structure with the flexibility of working from home.
So can you spell Guadalajara?
Guadalajara, Guadalajara.
Ah, nice. Nicely done.
All right. Roll that right off.
Nuestra oficina es en Monraz.
Okay. All right. Muy bien. So, is there any good bar nearby the office that we can hang out weekend? Like if we decide to go visit your office?
Yeah, Guadalajara is 5 million people. Mexico City is 25 million people. So, it's a major metro with tens of thousands of qualified workers. In all seriousness, we actually have apartments that we keep in each city so that clients can come down and visit their team, or I go down there frequently as well.
No kidding.
Very cool.
It's one of the main differences is that we encourage people to connect and come down and train with your team, or even fly them up to see your properties.
Where are you located, Rob?
I'm in Omaha, but I spend so much time on the road, I forget what it looks like.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, Omaha, the home of the best steak in America, right?
We got pretty good steak. I still have a quarter cow in my freezer.
Well, you and Steve could probably trade, because I think you got about half a big eye fish tuna, don't you, in your freezer?
I usually keep some fresh tuna. I try not to freeze that. I'll give it away before we have to freeze it. But yeah, no, I'm a big seafood guy.
Okay.
Now, how do companies, especially like property management company, react about the idea of using a remote staff as part of their team? And
yeah, I mean, as you would expect, a couple of years ago, the mindset was completely different. And then once people realized that they had to work from home regardless, everything shifted. And now we're in 27 states.
Wow.
More and more people are just accepting it as mainstream, particularly as their competitors jump in and as more and more people do it. And I would add that most of the time the clients aren't even aware of it. So it's not a hindrance.
Yeah, that's pretty cool how you guys can do that. I mean, but so since the beginning of the pandemic, actually a little bit before that, finding bodies, finding people, finding talent has been an enormous problem. So how can remote staffing help, say a property management company?
In a lot of ways. I mean, obviously the cost is lower, but that's not something we focus on, because we're not in the cost saving business. We're in the superior staffing business. The people that we give you are just as good, if not better, as the people that you can hire domestically. And then you just happen to save 40 to 60% at the same time.
Ooh, wow. That's a real scratch.
Yeah, that's pretty substantial savings. But beside the savings, let me just ask you a quick question about having that remote staff. You are operating in a niche market, just like Steve and I are with condominium and HOA co-op insurance. How do you train? What's your training program to help somebody that maybe live in Guadalajara and does not live in a condo association and does not understand how condos are operated in El Paso, Texas? How do we bridge that gap?
Sure. Well, it helps that, as you said, we are in a niche market, and over 80% of our clients are in the HOA industry. I had my own HOA management company, and we also put all of our recruiters and HR staff through HOA training so that they understand the market. When a new employee comes on board, we put everybody through a dedicated training program that we put together with the help of Julie Adaman, her CAM 101 course. We also have a private training platform that we've set up that has several hundred videos of 2 to 3 minutes each that answer questions that come up, like what's the difference between a board meeting and an executive session, or how are budget overages handled, or how do you renew an insurance policy, things like that, so that while they're working, they can access those resources.
Oh, David, you might want to watch that one on the the renewing of the insurance policies. It's access that library of films.
Worth mentioning, there are HOAs in Mexico, and we've hired HOA managers existing in Mexico and put them through the M100, gotten them their CMCA certification. Cool. So they're familiar with the concept.
All right, so like what's the
I just want you to follow up on his comment before you go. Do you have a video on how to handle like a very irritable, like annoying board members? Because I think Steve would do a great candidate for that one.
To do a training video, he
would be a perfect board member.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I see where you're going with this. Yeah, right. And we'll follow that up with how to deal with an annoying coworker.
Okay.
So, what's like a jumping off point? Where does a property management company decide that they want to start to use remote team members? How do you see most of them getting involved with this?
Very few of them do it in any kind of planning ahead. Most of the time I've been desperately trying to hire somebody and I can't. What the heck? Let's give this a try. And then within 3 months, they've added 5 other positions. And then within 6 months, they just send everybody to us when a position opens.
Yeah, I think we may have a couple connections for you then.
Well, and it's important to note that I was my own first customer. As I said, I had my own management company in California, and I struggled just like everybody does with profit margins. I struggled with retention. I struggled with sanity. And what I did is I started hiring people remotely. And number one, it freed up budget so I could pay my domestic people better. It also allowed me to add positions that I wouldn't have been able to add at 60 or 70,000 a year to give more support to my domestic staff. So once I did that, my retention skyrocketed, burnout dropped off, and our profit margin, I think, tripled.
Wow.
Which, 3 times 0 is still 0. No, but no. But no, by the time
even that math is hard for Steve.
Staff was remote, so it's not just entry level positions.
Wow. Well, that's really, I don't know for you, Steve, but for me at least, it's really eye opening. I did not realize that this was actually taking place. So thank you very much for joining us, taking the time to discuss this, Rob. But I'm sure it's not all nice and easy. It's not all running into a field of flowers when it comes to implementing. You call them RTM, like remote.
RTM.
Yeah, remote staff. What are some of the typical difficulties you run into implementing that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely not a miracle pill. There are adjustments. One of the things that I speak about a lot is organization amplification. Basically, if you're organized and you bring on remote staff, you're going to get so much stronger. You're going to scale faster. Things will get better. But if you're disorganized and you bring on remote staff, things are going to get more disorganized. Because a lot of people in the industry, we teach by apprenticeship and follow me, watch what I do, and ask questions as we go along. That doesn't work with remote staff. You have to have training systems and documents and scripts. And so a lot of companies do struggle with that. And the good news is that it forces you to adapt and it forces you to become a stronger company. And once you've hired one, you can hire 5 because you've done it for the first time.
No kidding. No kidding. So from an employee standpoint, from one of your remote team people, like how is their perception of what they're doing and how do you keep morale up? I mean, it's really difficult to do, I imagine.
It is and it's not. We have a very good retention rate. It's well over 90% of our employees stay year over year. And it's important to note that even though you might pay $9 an hour, $10 an hour for your bill rate, the person is taking home, number one, they're taking home the majority of that, and that their standard of living is much better than somebody domestically who might make $17 or $18 an hour. We also offer amazing health insurance, fringe benefits. We have monthly socials. So we do a lot to support these people on the idea that it's better to pay a little bit more and keep them for 5 years, because employee turnover is when you really have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what's wrecking our industry is like you have turnover and you just don't know where to get the people. So that's a good point. Now, how about domestically? Like, how do the domestic employees feel when they hear that the boss is now starting to hire like 2 RTMs or 2 remote workers, and do they feel like the pressure that maybe their job's at risk?
It depends on the company, of course, and we always advocate getting the whole team involved and the whole team on board. And we also make it clear that we are not in the chopping block business. I have never one time told a client, fire so-and-so and I'll save you money. That is not the business we're in. We provide support staff, domestic employees do their job better. And so once they realize that, they begin to appreciate it and they love working with the people. Number one compliment we get is that they have great attitudes and they're so pleasant to work with. So as long as
so you're in the relief business.
Yeah, because what community association manager wouldn't love to have a dedicated assistant to assemble board packets and follow up on RFPs and follow up on insurance policies? So we help your domestic staff have a better quality of life.
This is very interesting. It gives me some ideas on how I can use David remotely. Now, I'm sure that you can't fill every position remotely. I mean, there are certain things that need to be done in person, but a lot of, I mean, we're a pretty big company. We have people that work all over the country. I don't necessarily need to be in their presence all the time. So what are some tricky ones to do or that you wouldn't recommend doing? And then I have a follow-up question too. So David, be quiet.
Sure. Well, we never allow anybody to start at an upper level position. Everybody has to begin with customer service, AP, admin, something entry level, because it's a lot easier to make that switch with a lower level position. But we call it building the pyramid. Start with that foundation and then work your way up. The only positions that I would not recommend, obviously you can't have an on-site manager. Most CAM roles cannot be done remotely, but more and more companies are taking all of their financial only and all of their small HOAs and putting them in a portfolio. And now we have over 15 remote CAMs managing portfolios in the States. And then obviously an inspector, handyman, porter, anything that you have to actually go on site. But other than that, if you have the training and if you have the materials together, there's no reason not to. In time.
All right, so what I wanted to drill down on was the starting point, the entry level stuff. Like, so just what kind of position would you put a brand new person in your program? What position would you put that person in?
My absolute favorite position is customer service rep or receptionist, depending on the size of the company. Okay. And what this is, make a list of your 10 most common questions, because most of the phone calls fall into one of these 10. Where do I send my dues? How do I reset my password? How do I get my governing docs? How do I report the sprinkler head? Those questions. Okay. Give them the answer to those 10 questions and then give them a company directory of who all the other calls should go to: accounting, maintenance, governance. And then every week, teach them a couple more things. And within 2 months, they will take 80% of your calls. And then the beauty of it is you can create a client services department around this role. And when they've been there 3 to 6 months, say, oh, they're great at de-escalating situations. Let's move them to an AR clerk position where they can answer questions about late fees. Or they're really strong on maintenance. Let's move them to a maintenance admin and then replace them with new people. So that's been a very successful model.
No kidding.
So I know, hold on, I know where you're going with this, Steve. Yes, I will enjoy the new position. No, I don't mind practicing my Spanish. I know you're trying to find me a new job. I'll call Rob in due time.
Eres bienvenidos por aplicar.
Well, you know, me llamo Velasco, so I'll fit just right in over there.
Yeah.
All right. So, Steve, do you have any insight, intelligent, eloquent question for our guest today?
I don't know about intelligent, but I think I might have some rapid fire stuff around here. So yeah, Rob, we like to have a little fun on the show. It is Monday morning. Start off the week right. Are you ready for a little bit of rapid fire?
Sure.
Nonsense.
He was born ready. He's gonna outsource it to Mexico.
Okay, well, all right. Let's talk about that for a second. We're talking about currency exchange there for a second, but I don't want to talk about pesos. Just here's a random one. Which is worth more, the pound or the euro?
The pound is worth more because the euro just achieved parity with the dollar.
Oh, up on the currency exchange. I like this. I know David. Never mind. So
I'll be quiet.
Right, here's one. This is a what would you rather. All right. So you're stuck with one television station forever. All right, and it's got to be one of these three. You have to choose.
Do we have television stations anymore, or is it all streaming platforms?
Or streaming service platform, whatever you want to call it. But so you're going to have one that it's either going to show nothing but reality TV, nothing but sports, or nothing but news. You got to choose one.
I would probably go with reality TV, not The Bachelor, but I enjoy things like The Prophet or Kitchen Nightmares or something that's Shark Tank. News is too depressing, and I enjoy a good sports game, but that would get old really quick.
Steve will pick the same thing. He loves watching
Housewives. Yes, Housewives. Every Wednesday, I sit down for 2 or 3 hours and get caught up on all my Housewives. That is not.
We knew
true.
that.
That is not true. That's so not true. Okay, what is the grossest thing you've ever eaten?
Probably some bad pork in Aguascalientes, Mexico. Sickest I've ever been in my life.
Okay.
I did have crickets in Uganda. I had crickets in Uganda, but that did make me sick.
Yeah, I think if you could just get past that first initial crunchiness, it probably. Were they alive or were they cooked or were they alive?
They were cooked. They were fried.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think I could do that. I don't know about the alive thing, but all right. Oh, here's a good one for you. Say a word or a phrase in French for David.
Je m'appelle Robert et je travaille avec Gordian Stuffing.
Everybody that I ask that question to, they always whip out this like sentence, and I'm like trying to not do that.
C'est très bien. Merci beaucoup, Robert.
What did he say?
Il a dit bonjour, je m'appelle Robert, je travaille avec Gordian Stuffing. Didn't you just heard him?
Yeah, never mind. All right, I think we can wrap this up. All right, so last question. What is the first thing you do when you get on an airplane?
Stow my bag, take my shoes off.
Okay. All right. I won't take my shoes off until I get to cruising altitude, but that's just me. I'm a little weird about that. But all right, so now
it's need to run during takeoff.
Yes, I do. Anyway, so all right, this is a part of the show. We like to allow our guests some time to promote whatever it is they want to. We just hand over the mic, whatever you want to. It could be a charity, it could be your business, anything that you want to promote. The microphone is yours, Rob. Go for it.
Sure. We support a number of charities, and part of everything we make goes back to charities that we support. There's a great orphanage in Guadalajara called Sueños and Esperanzas, Hopes and Dreams. They support over 80 children full-time, and they have a near 100% adoption rate. And one of the things that I love about it is run with all of the efficiency and discipline of a business. Having worked in a lot of charities, many of them have good intentions but no discipline. And this is an orphanage that does just an amazing job. And for $300 a month, you can fully support a child there in Guadalajara.
Okay, so how would our viewers get involved in that? How would they help out with that cause?
If they can either Google it, Sueños y Esperanza in Guadalajara, or they can email us, info@Gordian Staffing, and we'll be happy to connect them. But yeah, $300 US a month, and you're supporting a child full time.
No kidding. Thank you so much for that. What happened there, David?
I was trying to put Buenos Esperanza in the banner at the bottom.
All right. So yeah, all right. We'll cut this tiny little piece out here, and then we'll get the. Yeah, can we get it on the banner down there?
There we go.
All right.
Close, yeah, close enough.
Yeah, that's not how you spell Sueños, though.
Well, my bad.
Well, they're not gonna find it.
¿Cómo no puede escribir?
Que no se necesita escribir.
It's SUENOS.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah, no. See, we can still be in this edit. See if you can get that up there.
I'll put a W. Buenos.
What?
Maybe it's easier if you just email us and we'll get you in touch.
There you go.
What happened?
But every month we support several children and they send updates so you get to see how the kids are doing. And there you go, Sueños y Esperanza. And I challenge anybody to go down there and not get emotional when you see those kids.
Wow, no kidding.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, for joining us, opening our eyes on an aspect of the association world that we did not know about.
Yeah.
Well, did not know much. I speak for me. And let's take this conversation offline. I'm sure there's people that we can talk to and introduce you to. And if you have any question on what Rob does or Sueños and Esperanzas, don't hesitate to reach out to Rob by clicking on the link below or in the comments above. And we'll see you all next week on the next episode of Community Association Call Chat. See you around.